Good morning. I am going to walk you through pulling your reports from Fulton Connect. You will use these reports to post your data for your data walls. You're going to come to the Fulton County Schools webpage. You'll scroll down to Employee. And I am still signed in from before, so it may ask you to sign in. If it does, go ahead and sign in. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to select the Launchpad app. Once I get here, I'm going to come to Fulton Connect Assessment and select that app. It is going to bring me to the Fulton Connect webpage. If you look across the top, you will see the different icons. I am going to select Performance. Under Performance, select Reports. It gives you a drop-down menu. Scroll all the way down to District Assessments. Click the plus sign. I'm going to pull reports for my class, so choose Teacher Level Reports by Class. I am going to first select Student Score. This will give me the actual student score from the assessment. Remember, if you're looking at student tracking, it won't give you the score. It may say 9, it may say 5, but it doesn't give you the actual score. When you pull the report, you will get the actual score. I'm going to select Summary here. This will give me an overall summary of how my students performed on each standard. I'm going to scroll down. I want to select Multi-Test Graph. This will graph my students' averages for me. You can use this graph in turn to post it on your data wall. You don't have to create those graphs. I'm going to also scroll down and choose one more, Objective Performance Grouping by Test by Class. What this does is it groups my students or your students based on how they performed on a particular standard, and I'll show you that. Okay. This is all I need to select for now, so I'm going to scroll down. It says Select Report Format. I am going to select PDF. The year is 2017-18. Campus, of course, is Bethune Elementary. Now, I am going to select Test Level. This is important. If you are pulling a common assessment, that means that's an assessment that either I or yourself have entered into Fulton Connect, then it will either be under Campus or Teacher Classroom. If you are pulling unit assessments, they will always be under District. Okay. So I'm pulling a unit assessment. I'm going to select District. I'm going to scroll down. I am going to leave it at English because I'm speaking English. Next, I need to choose my class. Okay, so I'm going to select Reload. Now, for me, it's going to bring up all of the teachers, but for you, it's just going to bring up your class. Okay, I am just going to choose a class here. Let's see. I'll choose Ms. Rosser's second grade class math. And what I'm going to do is where it says test, I have to hit reload again because I have to tell it which test I want it to pull. Here I want to pull Unit 2 pre-assessment data for demonstration purposes. All right, I'm going to leave the gender. All of those boxes should be checked as well as ethnicity. Okay. So once I get here, I am going to run the report. Click Run the Report. Now, if you didn't select something, it will not allow you to run the report. You'll have to go back and check. You will get an error message. But I did not receive an error message, so I'm good to go. So as you can see, it pulls up the report for me. So here I have the actual student scores. It tells me how my students performed on this assessment. I scroll down. Remember, we checked Objective Mastery Summary. This gives me the standard, so you can see this standard, MD10, the number of questions that were on there, and then it'll tell you the percent of the students who mastered this standard. So I know if I am creating my lesson plans for the following week, I know that this is a standard that I need to go back and address because none of the students mastered, okay? If I look down here at MBT5, add fluently add and subtract within 100, I can see that 71% of my students have mastered this, and this is a pre-assessment. So I know that I don't need to spend a lot of time on this standard, okay? All right, you also scroll down. Remember, we pulled the average percent here, correct? So here's the graph. It'll give us the graph. We also pulled the objective mastery performance grouping by class. So here it just groups of students. So remember I said that looking at that standard MD10, draw a picture graph and a bar graph to represent a data set with up to 4 categories. Those questions, that standard was addressed on questions 12, 13, and 14. I can see that none of my students mastered here. So I know when I group my students, these students right here, I need to review this standard. Now, of course, when I'm forming my flexible group, I won't have a group this large. I'm going to have to break that up. But I do realize that these students did not master this standard, as well as looking at MD8. Okay? I'm going to scroll down here, and I can just see how my students perform. And you can see individual student scores there on that standard. Remember, I'm not going to stress out over this because this is a pre-assessment, so it's just a roadmap to tell me, what I need to do, what standards I need to address in this unit. I have just walked you through pulling your report through Fulton Connect. Of course, if you have any other questions or concerns, you can always contact me.